Perhaps the most used word in the 20th century was revolution. Indeed, there were a few big ones in the century: the Russian Revolution, and then Mao's great proletarian cultural revolution by the middle of the century, and a few smaller ones around the world. 23 years into the 21st century, the most cliched word so far must be development. This week we heard the D word again. The Prime Minister said we'll be a developed country by 2047. The questions are, will you see it? Will I see it? Will the promiser see it? Whether you were around in 1947 when we won freedom or born later, one good thing about being an Indian is that we have no dearth of encouraging, exciting, and inspirational slogans and roadmaps about development from our leaders. Sure, in the years post-independence, we've lifted millions out of poverty, vastly increased the social and physical infrastructure, and added not years but decades to the life of the average Indian, but yet appear perennially behind the leading nations. I missed out on the Tryst with Destiny speech by Prime Minister number 1 Jawaharlal Nehru on Independence Night in 1947, but this is what he said about India's future. The service of India means the service of the millions who suffer. It means the ending of poverty and ignorance and disease and inequality of opportunity. He also said, we have to build the noble mansion of free India where all her children may dwell. He didn't say when we'll finish building that noble mansion. In 1965, Prime Minister number 2 Lal Bahadur Shastri gave us a slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. For non-Hindi speakers, that translates into Hail the soldier, hail the farmer, telling us we were so obliged to and dependent on the soldier and the farmer. Shastri, of course, said that more than 30 years ago, before the IT era dawned, which made the soldier, farmer, actor, doctor, painter, and everybody else dependent on the techies, the people who have now unleashed AI on us. See how the tech sector has gained in importance in India from a virtual standing start in the 1990s. In 2020 to 23, India's exports touched a record $776 billion. Take a look at the breakup. Merchandise exports, $450 billion, and service exports, $326 billion, of which software and IT-enabled services form a major chunk. Shastri, of course, could not have foreseen this. To get back to the D word, India had a rising star and a new slogan in 1971, Indira Gandhi saying, Garibi Hatao, Desh Bachao, meaning remove poverty, save the nation. The focus thus shifts from soldier and farmer to the poor. In 1998, Atal Bihari Vajpayee improved on Shastri's slogan and said, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan, after the Pokhran tests, to underline the importance of Vigyan or knowledge in India's progress. In 2003, President APJ Abdul Kalam envisioned India to be a developed country by 2020. Millions of school children who heard him would have dreamt of India being developed by 2020. Sadly, when that year arrived, COVID struck and we were clanging plates and saying, Go Corona, go. In 2004, Congress came back to power with the slogan, Congress ka haath Aam Aadmi ke saath, meaning the hand of Congress with the common man. See how the slogans have moved from the soldier and farmer to the poor and onto the common man. And in 2014, we heard from the BJP, Achhe din aane wala hai, meaning the good days are coming. Since then, we've had a volley of slogans. Digital India, Make in India, Minimum Government, Maximum Governance, and Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, meaning save the girl child, educate the girl child. Among all those leaders who gave slogans about development, only Abdul Kalam, with his scientific temper, put a time frame for India to reach the goal. In 2003, he said in 17 more years, by 2020, India would be a developed country. This week, Prime Minister Narendra Modi showed similar earnestness by fixing a goalpost, a new one. He says India will be developed by 2047. So who among India's 1.42 billion today will get to witness India as a developed nation in 2047? Let's take a look. Even the youngest of the silent generation, born between 1928 and 1945, will have to live to 102 years to see the golden dawn. Of the baby boomers, born between 1946 and 1964, the oldest will be 101 years and the youngest 83 in 2047. The oldest among the Generation X, born between 1965 and 1980, would be close to their walking stick years, aged 82, and the youngest among them, at 67 years, would be well past retirement. Now consider the millennials born between 1981 and 1996. We have an estimated 440 million of them, considered our best bet for a massive demographic dividend. In 2047, the oldest of them at 66 years will be in retirement, and the youngest at 51 years will be past their best years in life. Most of the Gen Zs born between 1997 and 2012 will get to live long in a developed India, though the senior most among them will have hit 50 years by 2047. So the ones who have a real chance of enjoying a developed India are the Gen Alpha born between 2013 and 2025 and their juniors. The Prime Minister had a stirring message for them this week. By 2047, I'm sure that our country will be among developed countries. Our poor people will comprehensively win the battle against poverty. Health, education, and social sector outcomes will be among the best in the world. Corruption, casteism, and communalism will have no place in our national life, he says. So the 1 million odd Indian students leaving the country this year to study abroad may be making a serious mistake. By 2047, American, British, and Australian students will be jostling to get into Indian universities. If you didn't know, as of June, 98,000 Indian students are studying in Australia. Perhaps our youth are leaving the country because they feel the goalpost is so far they need binoculars to get to see it clearly. In their language, YOLO, you only live once. If you have lived through 2003, when you were told of a developed country by 2020, and through 2023, when you are assured of a developed India by 2047, you have seen a lot in life. Have patience. We will one day live in that noble mansion visualized by Jawaharlal Nehru. We have waited 76 years. We can wait 24 years more. To keep your spirits up on our development journey, here's a clip from the World Athletic Championships in Budapest, Hungary last week, where the Indian 4x400 meter relay team gave the American team a real run for their money. Yes, the US athletic team. And finished second in the semi-final with an Asian record time of 2 minutes 59.05 seconds. The Indian team was so underrated that only 2 minutes 28 seconds into the commentary is the commentator heard saying, "Is that India?"
Between Richards.
If you haven't heard of our heroes, they are Mohammad Anis, Amoj Jacob, Mohammad Ajmal Variatodi, and Rajesh Ramesh. The good thing is that from the Chandrayaan team to the 4x400 meter men's relay team, India's doability is increasingly evident.
It's an absolutely phenomenal second place finish for the Indians.